majority of people that do really well in Q4 have one thing in common, and it is Amazon book ads. So we're going to go kind of A to Z and even pre-prep work so you have a clear idea of what you can do as a beginner. You'll even get some tips from this video of advanced strategies too. Let's go.
Okay, really quick. So this is my Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing KDP account. If you have other books on Amazon that are not print on demand, this might look different for you. Okay, so at the time of this video, we've almost crossed $200,000. And so let me take you just a couple steps back before we set up our first campaign and talk about optimization. Okay, so the first part of account setup actually happens before you even set up a KDP account for books, for actual advertising. I want you to know your numbers. A lot of times people will publish a book and turn on ads and they don't even know their numbers. And it's really hard to scale a book. It's hard to get to the core of sales if you don't know your numbers. And I even ran a test where I turned off my ads to see my numbers, and we'll get into that because it was not pretty. Okay, I'm married to a mathematician and my boys are really good at math, so they're always reminding me, like, follow the numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm on this BookBeam screen, I want to share with you, I'll put this in the description. This is a free tool, and this is the KDP paperback and hardback calculator. And so anytime that I'm getting ready to turn on an ad for a book, I already know how much I have to spend to break even and what's profitable. Okay, so let's talk about the most popular book that's sold on Amazon. It is a paperback. It is a black and white ink, black ink. It is a 6x9. It is 110 pages. Okay, so that is typically one of the reasons it's 110 pages is because at 111, the pricing of pages per print changes. So if you've been doing books that are like 80 pages long and you haven't really been thinking about the reason, you're not charged anymore to make it 99 or 100 or 110. So I like to push it to the limit of this price break so I can give the customer more. When I'm building a book, I have the customer in mind, and this is how we reverse the profits, right? And so if you're doing just a composition notebook for back to school and you're really good at design, then you're going to be able to charge a little bit more for that low content book. Maybe you're pricing that at $7.99. Let's do an example. Okay, so $7.99 lets us know that our royalty after Amazon's fee and printing cost is $2.47. Now, when we are running ads, we don't get to see the book royalty on our screen. It's only going to tell us the break-even cost. And ACOS stands for advertising cost of sale. So each book is going to have its own percentage. And when you have multiple campaigns in your Amazon advertising account, and they are different books, they're going to come up with an average of your ACOS. So it doesn't even give you the full amount, okay? So that's something really important that I want you to think about, because in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you how to break it down in a way that makes sense for you, because a lot of people turn off their ads when they're actually profitable and they don't even know it, okay? But the reason why they don't know it is because this is the first step, okay? So I want to show you something else as part of this complete setup, because if you don't do this part, it's really hard and it's actually not helpful that the pricing for our books is on the last page of our upload. That is engineered for us to think about it last. And as self-publishers, as we reverse engineer our profits, we really, really, really want to make sure that we have margins to sell. And you might be asking, Jenny, what exactly does that mean? That means I have to be able, my margins to scale, I need to get a customer for $2.47 or less to break even or make a profit, okay? So I like to price my books a little bit higher, and that means I can't always publish composition notebooks or what else? So many repeated pages, you can only get so much for. Okay. And so let's say that I actually have a prompted journal and it has, I'll actually show you in this next part. Let's say it's $9.99. Okay. I'm actually have a whole $1.20 more to scale, and my break even goes up. That means I can spend more to acquire a customer. And in marketing, the one of the most famous direct response marketers in the world, his name is Dan Kennedy, and he is famous for saying, whoever can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And the reason why this is important is because as we go into the ad section, we will learn that Amazon is a pay per click. So if you and I are going up against each other, and we've got Jeff Bezos in front of us, and he puts out his hand and he says, "All right, you guys want to sell your books? What is your bid amount?" And I hand him 8 cents, and you hand him 11 cents. Who's going to win in that auction? You are. You're going to win every time. And I want you to win every time, okay? So when we're looking here, you're like, hey, I actually have $3.67 to spend. But you're not going to tell Jeff Bezos that. Oh, sorry. You're not going to tell Beth Bezos that because you need a budget to scale your books. And that's why we always start small. So actually in this complete setup video, I'm going to show you the scaling strategy that I use. So because there's so many different ones, but at the end of the day, we need to be able to have the margins to keep our ads on. Okay. So here's one part. So you might be thinking like, hey, stop, pause the video. How are you charging $11.99 for a book? Okay. I have a couple books, right? I just crossed 555 books. The last 30 books have been low content books. And I'm pricing them at all different manners, okay? I just priced a book for $13.99, okay? So this is how I'm able to outspend my competition. No one is talking about this, and it needs to be talked about because when you can reverse engineer book profits, it's all the better, okay? You can see that my ACOS went up by 20%. I have more margins to scale. This means I can put my money back into my ads, okay? Now I want to go over to show you my book hierarchy, which I've developed that helps me make sure that I can justify a higher price for a book. Okay, so before I even turn on ads, I'm thinking of my book hierarchy. Okay, this is intellectual property that I developed. Like, this is really made a difference for me. My background's in marketing, and so this was inspired by Russell Brunson because he taught me about the value ladder. Okay, let's dive into it. So this screenshot of March 3rd, I've crossed $111,000, so 6 figures in books. And this is where it all began. Okay. What I started to learn when I first started uploading on Amazon was that customers, it's a value-based platform. They want things that are going to work for them. And so what I was thinking about is in marketing, like a YouTube video, it's like the very bottom of this step. But as we share things, some people on YouTube sell programs. I sell programs. Some of my favorite KDP YouTubers sell programs. And I hope that you're following someone that actually publishes. There's a lot of YouTube videos that blow up. And then when they show you how to like upload a book, they don't have anything in their account. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a lot of power in following someone that's in the weeds. And that's the only way I developed this, of having 550 books, is developing and being in the weeds. Okay. So what I figured out with the book hierarchy is that when we start, we have to like start somewhere. And so the first time I uploaded a planner, a notebook, something in my brain changed. And that's really powerful. So if you watch YouTube videos that people say like low content books are garbage, that's based off of their sample size, okay? It depends on so many variables. It depends on who the book is for. Are you a good designer? Okay? My best-selling book is a low content book. It's made 37,000. My second one is 35,000. I am just getting started into medium content books in a really heavy way, which I'll show you with this hierarchy. A couple minutes ago, I said that I published 30 books recently in their low content. I misspoke. Their medium content because of the book hierarchy. So if you're new here and you haven't published anything, just do a notebook. In fact, I'll even put a template in the description for you to start. Just start with a notebook, okay? Because that's where I started, and it's a lot easier to upload. Like, I'll give you the template. It's a lot easier to upload than trying to figure out a different type of book, okay? But it is very hard to charge $14.99, $9.99, $8.99 for a simple notebook, and the reason why is because of the supply. It is easy to upload that book. You can get it at Walmart for 89 cents if you live in the United States. And so truly the people that are making money with notebooks on Amazon KDP are really niche down. And an example of that is if you're a parent and your kid is obsessed with astronauts and tacos, and you find a notebook with astronaut and tacos that is so niche down, you're going to buy that book for $8.99. Okay. And so think about that for back to school, because that is going to be the best time. If you're like, I don't want to develop my skill set, then notebooks is for you. Okay. The second part of that is journals. They are in the same step because they are so easy to do and the supply is so big, right? For some reason, there's this weird, beautiful trend on Amazon where people start publishing and they publish a gratitude journal in like 100 colors. Now, the reason why this is beautiful is because I love gratitude and I think we should exercise gratitude every day. But we are oversaturating that particular niche. We need to talk about who the gratitude journal is for, what it actually accomplishes, okay? And that's what the book hierarchy helps us with, okay? So let's move up. Prompted journals. This actually takes people from like A to B. Coloring books solves a problem. Planners, activity books, workbooks, and high content books, okay? So as you get to making more complex books, you can actually charge more, okay? And so people ask me all the time, how do you have books that are priced so high for some of your campaigns? And it's because I'm using the book hierarchy. And you can see on this right-hand side that I am focused on adding features that I can talk about in the book description as benefits, okay? And so I'll actually even put the book hierarchy PDF below for you in the description, so you can just print it out or think about how this works in your book catalog. And then here's the really fun thing, you guys, is you can build out brand names that include all of these together. And so if you're watching Netflix, it's a mindless night, but you want to create a couple notebooks, I mean, you get to upload 3 a day, right? But you have a pen name with an activity book, do a complimentary blank journal that matches that theme of that notebook. Because if you're doing all of your keyword research, like, it is really, really powerful, okay? So let's dive in now that you've seen the book hierarchy. This is important because this is what dictates my pricing for Amazon to have great sales. Let's dive into like what else we need in our book before we turn on an ad.
Okay, I want to interrupt this video really quick to tell you that abundance is your birthright. And if you don't quit, you can't lose. And so none of this happened for me overnight, but a little bit of sales came in every night. And that's how I reach multiple 6 figures of book sales. Let's go.
All right, so let's talk about books that sell well. These are the 4 elements that every single book has that actually can bring you in royalties, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, what we have control over is how we communicate to the audience looking for that. If we want daily sales, we need to look for enough people that are searching for that, okay? But I want you just to think of this differently because this really helped me to hit to cross 6 figures quickly. This is 111,000. And what really changed for me was, so in college, I used to be a professional gift wrapper. And in my training videos, I learned that gift wrapping came out of the Great Depression in the United States. Now, different countries might have different origin stories of gift wrap, but during the Great Depression, it was very sad and people didn't have a lot of money. And so when they would give each other presents, they would wrap it up in a newsprint, which is what coloring books have been made out of, and packaging. It's a craft brown paper, and they would decorate it. And it was like really exciting, right? And so that's something that like I actually love gift wrapping. In another world, I would have a gift wrapping store where I would gift wrap. And in college, when I did gift wrapping, I would race with other people. Okay, so I love the idea of giving gifts and making them beautiful. It is my favorite part of Christmas is wrapping presents. Okay, what does this mean for books? I'm going to break down the 4 things that you need that you need to have in your book that will make it sell well. And I want you to think about this every time you create a book, okay? Because books are like presents. Okay, the first question you need to be able to answer yes to: does the inside content feel like a gift? If you're just throwing stuff together and it's not a good customer experience, Beth Jesus will block your book and could kick you off. Have you guys ever been to a white elephant party? That's where you wrap up something random in your house and then you go to a party and everyone switches and like you get the weirdest stuff and like you secretly wish it was something fun and it wasn't. When Amazon customers buy something and they open the book and it is crummy content inside, it is like they lost at this gift party. Okay. If you need a separate video on white elephant gifts, I can do it. Okay. We need to be able to say the content in here is good. I would gift it to somebody. Okay. And it's the Amazon customer that matters. Inside, does the inside content feel like a gift? Okay. Number 2, is the cover exciting to the buyer? Right? If you came to my party, if I was invited to your birthday party, the present that I would bring would look like one of these because I'm celebrating you and I think you're amazing and I want you to have a good birthday. When Amazon customers buy something online, they love the unboxing experience, okay? And that's why we have to make sure the inside feels like a gift and that it's wrapped up pretty, okay? So you can get better at cover creation every time you publish a book. I have a lot of students that never use Canva, and after 6 to 8 months, they get better and better and better, okay? So you need to be able to answer yes on this. Is the cover exciting to the buyer? And you can find what's exciting to the buyer by looking at other books that sell. And I recently had a conversation with a publicist. People pay her $40,000 to help them push their book. And I saw 2 of her best-selling customers, like her clients, and the books had the same colors on them. And I said, those books look so much alike. She said, yeah, it's interesting when you go into Barnes and Noble and you see what's selling. There are trends that just follow each other and the customers are okay with it. Now, it is important here that your gift wrap has a flair to your brand and you're not copying people exactly, because that is not a good customer experience, right? They don't want a present that looks like another present. Like, give them some variation, which brings us to number 3. What element does your book have to position it differently? I always think about this as like the bow on the book, on the present, on the gift wrap, on the box. Like, what is that little thing that makes it stand out? As for your book, this could certainly be what type of book this is, what makes it different. Example of this is when someone does like 300 word search pages, or they do particular activity books with Easter coming up. I saw a unicorn with the Easter bunny for a coloring book. I saw a leprechaun with an Easter bunny. And I saw a monster truck with an Easter bunny. So think of that astronaut taco kid we talked about and put him in a coloring book with the Easter bunny. Like, when you know the customer, that is golden information. Which brings us to number 4, okay? Does it have a tag so we know who it belongs to? A lot of people don't understand customer avatars, and you leave a lot of money on the table when no one knows who your present's for. It never gets opened, it never gets touched. And so we have to communicate that in our book description and maybe even our subtitle, along with the way that we design it, right? If you're a gentleman, typically, and you invite me to your party, you might not want me to bring you a gift box in all pink. All shades of Barbie pink, right? Like, my kids, they wouldn't like that. They're boys, they're not into that. Now, this is not a gender conversation. This is an avatar conversation, okay? And so if there are tons of books for little boys that are pink and they're selling, lean into that. We already have a lot of clues of what sells really well on Amazon. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. And a lot of you are doing that because you're not thinking of the customer, okay? I have made this mistake a lot too. I have 555 books, okay? So it's not like it's not end game. Like, we're learning and we're growing. So this is also something I want you to think about before you turn on ads. Like, do you have these 4 things? Are you excited to distribute this present all over Amazon KDP advertising platform? Okay, so now that we have laid the foundation of turning on our first ad or setting up our account, there's some quick things for beginners to pay attention to. You need to have a live credit card added to your account when you sign up. When you have an Amazon KDP account and you can simply come into advertising.amazon.com, it will allow you to use the same email address to toggle back and forth with. Okay, so you'll literally sign in. If it doesn't let you sign in, you'll register. Okay, so it is likely when you get into your account, you won't have anything here. You're going to go to the blue button, Create Campaign. And there's 2 different types of campaigns that you can do. One is sponsored products and one is sponsored brands. And I recently helped my older sister set up her account, and she had a business account with Amazon. And because of that, it gave her different types of ads to run. Sponsored brand was one of them, and that was very new to me. And so this is specifically for people that have an existing KDP account that are just doing sponsored products. That's all I've ever done with Amazon. So we're gonna the best guide to start with, in my opinion, is always an automatic ad. And the reason why is because it is the most simplest and it gives you all the data you need to be able to, 1, scale, but 2, build out a book brand, and 3, keep it really simple without overspending. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click continue. The second part is, well, actually the beginning of this, once we hit our campaigns, is standard or custom. And I typically have always had really good success with standard. And that means that Amazon is using what I already put in for my title, my subtitle, and my book description, along with the cover to circulate it. So if you have an ads background, you're like, oh, this means no ad fatigue. Your cover is your ad. And that's a really beautiful thing, because if the cover's done really well, then you don't have to worry about ad fatigue. Now, from a marketing perspective, if you have that present, you're right, you have the gift wrap and the bow, and you turn on an ad and you get a lot of impressions, but it doesn't lead to clicks, that means you need to update the cover. And this is beautiful because your book is still live, but you can upload a different cover to test it out. This is really difficult news for people that are married to their book covers. But if you want to build a book income stream, then it's important to be able to test and iterate on it so you can get better all the time. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and choose standard ad. Okay, so with standard ad, it gives you the ad group setting. And everyone does a different naming convention. It's really up to you. I leave mine exactly the way Amazon states it because it just tells me the date and time that I set up this campaign. I go ahead and I click one book in there that I would like to run ads to. And when it comes to targeting, I prefer to do automatic targeting, okay? Some of you might be like, how come you only have 254 books here instead of 550? Do you remember, if you follow my channel, my account has been suspended twice and terminated once. And some of those were errors on KDP. Some of those were people spamming me and reporting my stuff illegally and like competition. It's really sad when people do that. And then 2 years ago, before Canva was really clear on pro elements, my best-selling book had a pro element on the cover. so they went through and blocked a bunch of my books, and now they're all in published draft, and I just don't want to break any rules, so I've had to republish. And some of them are still sitting there. So most of my income is coming from 254 books right now. Okay. So just to be transparent, I'll always be as transparent as I believe it helps everybody. Okay. So targeting. Amazon will target keywords and products that are similar to the product in your ad. Do you see why this is so important to do the present before and to do the profitability, to do the keyword research? Now, this is not a keyword research video, but it is so important. And I'm actually getting ready to host a Power Hour, a keyword Power Hour class, and I would love for you to attend. So it's with my friend Danny on Demand. If you would like to learn more about doing proper keyword research so you have a beautiful present, you can check that out in the comments as well. Okay, so automatic targeting means Amazon is going to do, I'll actually show it to you here. Okay, so targeting bid, default bid, Amazon is taking into account what the default bid will be for this category. Okay. They're going to give recommendations. Okay. You can see these question mark things here. I like to scale up. Okay. So I always start really low and I check it every day and I scale up until I start spending. Okay. And do you remember at the beginning of this video, I said it's between you and me, and we're going to ask Jeff Bezos who he's going to take money from, and you were like, I'm going to do 11 cents and I'm going to do 8 cents. Right here, I'm telling Amazon, I'm not going to spend more than 8 cents. Okay. And actually, what I'm really telling them, I'm not going to spend more than 10 cents. Okay. And so when I do bid down, I take away all my fear of spending too much on Amazon. I have so many people that are scared to turn on ads because they think they're going to overspend. This is where you do not do that. So I tell Beth Bezos, if you can't get me a customer or a click for 10 cents, then you can't have my money. And he's like, okay. And so it's my job to find really low competition spaces for my book. And that's where we do that keyword research, right? We'll talk about that in the math class, and I have videos on this channel about that, okay? And so inside of here, this is where we are setting that up, okay? Now here is where we put in the name of our book, okay? And then I typically like to have an advanced strategy. Like even though I told Jeff Bezos I only have 10 cents to spend per click, I'm going to tell him like, but I am shopping in the market today and I've got money. I've got money. And he's not going to spend that daily bid amount unless he can get me those clicks for that amount. So that is the only reason that you saw in the beginning of this video that I have over 200 campaigns, and you saw some of the daily campaigns were 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, is because I am getting a lot of impressions. My book is being shown, but I'm not winning in the auctions until I'm at the right bid amount, okay? So there's two different things here, daily budget and bid amount. Okay, so now that that campaign is set up, what we need to do last is we need to actually pick our book, right? We could hit all ad. We're going to pick our book, and then we're going to hit launch campaign. So I'm going to go down and do that. Hit launch campaign. It will go through a process, a review process, okay, to be eligible to receive impressions. It will have the name of your campaign. It will have a picture of your book here. It will tell you everything that you have here, okay, the default bid, all that stuff. And then you can go to Campaign Manager to manage the campaign. And then if you toggle by start date, you can see March 9th, the name of book, it's up here. As soon as it is eligible, it will say delivering by Amazon. And if we click on this campaign, we can go to the full breakout of what type of campaign this is. when we click on here, we're now at the ad set level. The ad set level actually allows us to look at the ad group to see what Amazon is going to use for the targeting. So let's click on ad group. Okay, so this is one of my things. This is what I love the most about Amazon is inside the ad group, we have what's called targeting, negative targeting search terms, okay? We can set things up at the ad group setting and we can look at our history when we changed our amount. Now, if we started getting sales and we saw that Amazon was showing our book to something that didn't match our book and it was wasting money, we could negative target, say, don't show our book to that book anymore or products. But here's the sweet sauce. When we click on targeting, Amazon, the best way to describe this is that Amazon essentially uses 4 targets. And these 4 targets are close match. Let's see if we can scoot this over. Loose match, complements, and substitutes. When we use substitutes, we can actually see the words that Amazon customers are typing in. They're called search terms. And this is why I love automatic campaigns. Instead of going to Fiverr and buying somebody's package where they go and find keywords, we're actually getting keywords ourselves. And that's the only reason I published over 550 books over 3 years is because I'm getting that information from Amazon and I'm getting sales from it. But I feel like I could do another book like it. I go and make that. It also shows me my competition's books, stuff that I wouldn't ever see. And so it's really, really powerful. So as you come in here and the book is live, you come in here and you optimize your campaign by raising the bid amount or by turning off different matches or different targets that aren't working. Now, this is why knowing your ACOS is so important because you know, let's say the ACOS was 30% or 20%. If you're not getting, if you're getting sales, but they're not profitable, you can turn off certain matches and just scale those. And really how we get advanced is if you're having multiple of these work, you can literally duplicate the campaign and go further. And that's the only reason I've built out an entire book ads lab course. We're actually revitalizing it for 2025 because it has over 31 advanced strategies, but it all starts here. This is always where I'm starting, okay? So let me know throughout the video, if you have any questions about starting ads for beginners. Okay, so while we're filming this, the ad campaign went live. And so I'm just going to show you what I do with every single campaign. We need time. So this video, I can't, I could say, I'm going to come back in a day or two, or I'm going to come back in a couple hours, but I really wanted to get you started. And I want you to drop a comment if this did help give you clarity, what stuck out to you. Let me show you the steps I take to optimize every single time I have a campaign on. Okay, and lastly, this is a masterclass that I teach. It's the book ad scaling roadmap. This is where we did step number 1, and we need time to be able to monitor, optimize, and scale. If you're interested in joining one of these classes, they're really great because we have live interaction, but essentially we'll be able to help you understand how to optimize by knowing that, like I said earlier, if you don't have impressions, you can increase the bid amount. If you have a lot of impressions but not clicks, then it is, a cover issue. So there's so many things that we can do to help you get going. Drop in the comments if you turned on your first ad and you're slowly scaling. Let me know how I can help you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys for spending time with me, learning just like starting ads and being prepared for Q4 to be awesome. Once I went through one of my campaigns this last week and I saw I had like $1.59 a day campaign, I knew there was something more to this. And so let me know how I can help you. Let me know how you are doing with your KDP journey. And a huge reminder that if you don't quit, you can't lose. So drop in the comments of future videos you'd like to see for 2025. I'm gearing up to do it, to film them, and let's all win.